Namaskar. Let me start with a quote from His Highness Dalai Lama. He once said, "Follow 3 R's: respect for self, respect for others, and responsibility for all our actions." Sometimes we miss on all the 3 R's, and that can create a huge impact on the self, on others, and also on the organization. I'm going to discuss about this today. Friends, have you ever sent an email and not marking copy of that email to one relevant person, and that too intentionally? Have you ever introduced 4 people in a group but you ignored one person intentionally or subconsciously? Have you ever invited 4 people for a cup of tea or a glass of beer, and the one person sitting right there, a part of your function, but intentionally you did not invite him? Have you paid a passive attention to somebody speaking, looking at something else, or scrolling your mobiles? There are many such behaviors we exhibit. List is long. In a way, we want to convey to the person, the victim of our behavior, is that I devalue you. I do not like you. I do not want you to be part of my world. These behaviors are called micro-inequities. This term was coined by an MIT professor in 1973. Micro-inequity is a subtle, subconscious, sometimes intentional or unintentional behavior from our side to convey to somebody that I do not like you, I do not value you, and in a way, we try to impair that person's performance. These are not easily observable behavior by us. And generally, these behaviors are not visible by others also. But do you know, these kind of behaviors can create a huge impact on the person whom we have targeted. What will be the impact of such behaviors? First, it will hugely affect the moral of the person. It will add to the stress of the person. He will feel a very low esteem. His productivity goes down. The person may start showing absenteeism. He may stop coming to the office, to the work. It leads to frustration. And if at all, the person, the victim, is a continuous victim of such behaviors, he may leave organization as well. Employee turnover increases, attrition increases. It does not affect only that person. It affects entire team environment, and ultimately it affects entire organization's productivity as well. But what to do if you are the victim of such behaviors of somebody? There are 3 to 4 ways if somebody's such behavior is impacting you subtly, subconsciously. First thing to do is go to the person who is exhibiting this behavior. Sometimes it may so happen that person showing that behavior may not be even knowing. It might be unintentional. You go to the person and talk to him respectfully. And if he is a sensible person, he will feel apologetic and immediately correct that behavior. That is the best way to do. Communication is extremely important. Despite these efforts, if things do not improve, possibly the second step can be to go to the supervisor. Because it is supervisor's moral responsibility to ensure that nobody in the team becomes victim of somebody's such subtle and nasty behavior. Generally, it gets sorted out at a supervisor level. If the supervisor is composed and matured, he will definitely address that issue. If that doesn't work out, it's good to reach out to human resource department. Most of the times I have seen that human resource department takes care of such issues because it is the HR department who wants to see that organization has vibrancy and every employee works in a right working environment. But this is stage 3. Fourth is to go to an internal or external friend or a mentor and sharing your experience of ignorance and neglect by some of your colleagues or your seniors. Sometimes friends and mentors also help. But of all the 4, the first thing is go to the person. It should be threshed out at that level only. I'll end up with saying that if you are the victim, speak up. Don't keep it to yourself. There is a quote which says, be careful with your self-talk. You are conversing with the universe. If you keep it to yourself and you keep becoming victim and keep thinking, you will create a negative universe around you. It will affect your mental health. It may affect your physical health. It may affect your productivity, your performance. Ultimately, it may negatively impact your mental health and happiness. And if at all you are exhibiting this behavior, after this video, you will introspect and ensure that you do not do this with anybody. Ultimately, warm human relationships are extremely important for the success of any organization. I'll end with a poem from Saint Francis. The poem goes like this. It says, "O Lord, make me the instrument of your peace. Where there is a hatred, let me sow love. Where there is an injury, let me sow pardon. Where there is doubt, let me sow faith. Where there is despair, let me sow hope. Where there is darkness, let me sow light. And where there is sadness, let me sow joy. O Divine Master, grant me that I may not so much seek to be consoled than to console, to be understood than to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born to eternal life." My dear friends, let us solve the complexity of human relationships with mutual respect and warmth. Let us celebrate diversity and inclusion. Namaskar.